guys, it's Sarah. Today we get to hear the success story of Abbey Browning. Abby strives every day to overcome her anxiety and depression. In this video, you're going to see raw footage of how Abby felt during some of her hardest times. You're also going to be walked through her own experience, maybe being able to line up some of her experience with your own. She gives you tips, tricks, and what she felt in her brain worked for her in order to get to the place that she's at today. She felt that she wasn't living her life to the fullest. She felt that she was allowing her brain to take over and that she was trapped inside of her mind. And if that's something that you may be feeling, then this video is for you.
I never really realized that I had like mental health issues. Like I knew that I had anxiety and I never was diagnosed with it or anything, but I didn't know that I had depression. And looking at it now, like I know that I had depression. I just didn't know at the time. I didn't really understand what it was, or I thought like what I was thinking was normal. Spring of 2019, that's when I started like feeling kind of worse, but it didn't really kick in. And at the time I was an interior design major, and that was just a lot on my plate on top of being the president of my sorority and just like everything else that I was involved in. It was just a lot, and I would literally have breakdowns like once every other day, like just crying, bawling, like I just couldn't take it. It was too much. But I didn't even think it was a thing. I thought it was just like I had too much going on. I went to Texas with my family, and it was supposed to be like a fun vacation. My nephew was graduating, and the whole time I just kept feeling so anxious. I just like kept having little anxiety attacks, but there wasn't any reason. Like it didn't really make sense. And then the night that I got home, I went to my sister's new house, and I was sitting in the living room with her and my boyfriend Nolan. And I just had a panic attack. Like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was suffocating, and I just like exploded. Like I don't know why I'm getting emotional. It's not even a big deal, but it was just a lot. Like I just felt so overwhelmed, and I've been thinking about like what I wanted to do with my future career and what was going on. Literally, it's hard because a lot of people that go through like depression and stuff like that, they have like a specific reason. Like maybe it was like their home life or little things like that. But I didn't really have anything. Like I lived a really good life. I was the president of my sorority. I had a family that was so close to me and stuff, so it didn't really make sense. But that night I had a meltdown. I made myself sick. I was throwing up. I couldn't eat. I just balled up and cried forever. So the next day I went to the doctor and I got medicine, and it was one day. That didn't really help. I drove back to Cedar Falls, which is like a 2-hour drive, and the whole way home I was like so suicidal. Like I just wanted to be done. Like I was contemplating driving off the road. Like I was bawling, crying. I called my family, and they talked to me the whole 2 hours on the way because they knew that, they didn't know what would happen if I was alone. So right when I got here, my boyfriend took me to the hospital, and then I was admitted into the mental health unit, which was so scary. And I don't know, I went from like being with my family to being in a completely new place, like alone. It was cold and scary. And the first day I got there in the middle of the night, and I woke up and I went to breakfast because we wake up at like 7 a.m. and the like breakfast bell went off, and I sat there with a group of random strangers, and the person beside me asked to eat my plate of food because I wouldn't eat. Yeah, so it was scary. It was really scary, and I just kind of spent a lot of that time like crying in my room. I didn't think that I would get better. Like I thought that my mindset had just like snapped, and like that's how I was. And so that was really hard. I didn't eat. I literally would just cry and sleep all day for the first couple days. And then finally I met a couple people in there that I was able to talk to. And I remember there was this one guy that we would like walk around the building. Like it was the smallest room, like the whole mental health unit was so small, but we would walk back and forth down the hallways and just like talk. And that was like the first time. That was like day 4. And that was the first time that I actually started to feel like a little bit better. Like every time my family came, I felt anxious, I felt uncomfortable, I was scared. But that was like the first time that I felt normal. I was admitted, discharged 5 days later. And then after that, like the next couple weeks, I was okay. I had medicine that I was on, but it wasn't like perfect. I definitely didn't feel myself. I lost a lot of weight during that time. Like I couldn't eat. I still just felt like so like tense all the time. And a couple weeks later, I had an even worse panic attack, and I literally was in this room, like nobody else was home at all, and I was just bawling on the floor, like calling everyone I could because I just felt like so down. And again, there wasn't really a reason except that I just like maybe I wasn't confident or like satisfied with myself. But that was really scary, and that took about, I didn't go to the hospital again, but it took me probably about 5 days to get back to myself. Today is July 21st, and I'm hoping to document the road to my recovery. Yesterday I had my bad breakdown. It was very bad. Today I almost feel more depressed. I have to remain positive and just keep going, because that's all I can do, and I have to do that for my family and for my friends and for Nolan, for myself. I can't end my life. I can't give up. I can't do that. I wish I could. I really wish I could. And then it just took a couple months, but since then, I've definitely felt a lot better. Probably around like, so all of that happened during the summer, and it wasn't until probably like October that I really started feeling like normal. Like I wasn't always like tense and scared and nervous and like depressed. Like, I don't know, it's so weird when you have depression, like things can be fine, and I would literally sit there and be like, what's the point? Like eventually I'm gonna die, or I'm never gonna be happy, and nothing's gonna be satisfying for me. And that was really scary. But since then, I've grown so much. I've learned so much about who I am, and like when I need to take a break, when I need to stop, what matters and what I need to like worry about. And I don't know. I've told a lot of people about like what I've gone through, and a lot of people have actually like reached out to me when they feel like that. And I always tell them, you can make yourself like when you're feeling low or anxious or depressed, like you can make yourself stressed out and anxious just as easy as you can like calm yourself down. Like when I first would get scared about things like that or feel down, I would just panic. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like I'm so scared. But it's so much easier to just like lay down and like find the things that make you relax for a second and just stay calm. For anxiety, that like helps me a lot. And I guess when I'm like feeling depressed, I just try to like cling on to those things that like make me feel better, like my boyfriend and my future, like what I want to do as a social worker, like helping people like that, like those few things, because not everything makes me feel better, but a few things that I can really cling on to, like those are the stuff that like pull me through until I, you know, can get out of that space. Every day I try to wake up and kind of like tell myself like prepare myself for the day, I guess. I try to tell myself like, okay, it's a new day. Like usually in the mornings is when I'm the most optimistic, which is good, I guess. And sometimes at night I'll get kind of funky or like in a funk and negative. And so in the morning I try to tell myself like, okay, it's done. Like last night we worried about that, we stressed about that, like today is a new day and like we're moving forward. I think that's the biggest thing. Besides that, I always try to like notice when something is like getting under my skin where it shouldn't. And so I don't know, like before everything would bother me, or like someone would say something to me and it would ruin my day. Like I would just feel so insecure or feel so bad. And now I'm like, okay, like chill out. It's not a big deal. You're fine. So I think like just always keeping myself in check is kind of a big thing too. Really, it was just the way I felt. Like for a while, like I would just constantly think about what I was doing and like, stop, you're not even gonna be happy. Eventually, like just my mind would like play tricks on me. And one day I just realized like, hey, I've gone the whole day and not stressed about stuff. I didn't overthink anything. I didn't do anything that, you know, would bring me down. I literally just lived the day. And so I think that's when, I don't think there was like a certain point that I was like, this is it. But like one day I just realized like, hey, I'm fine. And I don't know, yeah. I think like getting myself through last summer, like that was so hard for me. And I just felt like so defeated. And I really just wanted to give up. Like I was just done fighting, and it was literally just, it just felt like all day, every day for months. Like I just felt like shit all the time. I wasn't alone. Like if I didn't have my family and stuff like that, it definitely would have been different. But like pulling through that, I mean, I'm definitely proud of that because it was so freaking hard. it's hard because a lot of it is to my family, and I hate to say that because I know that like not everybody has that, and I'm like so grateful because it would have probably taken me longer to get through things because I'm that type of person that like really relies on other people like just to pick me up. But I also think that like being in the hospital, I learned a lot of like techniques and stuff like that. Like actually having counseling and like therapy and stuff like that really helped because it changed my mindset. Like I was so unaware of mental health and what I needed to do to feel better, and like going through all of that stuff really helped me be more like aware of my brain and my thought and what I could do to fix it and stuff like that. It's funny because after I went to therapy, I was like that person that was like, no, you have to go, like, because my whole family, everyone around me acts like that. And I always say that you don't understand how much it helps until you try it. Like, it seems like, oh, it's fine, it doesn't make a difference, it's stupid. But like once you try it, and it's a lot of people think like I was just like talking, like you're literally just talking, you can do that with anyone, you don't have anything to say, that kind of stuff. But once you actually do it, like it's so different, you see from a different lens, and I don't know, it's crazy. It helps a lot. I think that, I mean, obviously I wish like I had a different mindset, like I wish I didn't even have to go through that stuff, or I didn't think like that. But I guess just once I felt poorly about something, like all my hope was gone. Like once I felt like I would have my panic attacks and I felt low, like I literally didn't have hope. And I wish that I would have had just a little bit more, like I would have had a little more confidence in myself, or a little bit more like positivity, because at that point I was just like, it's not gonna get better, like this is it, I don't know. So yeah, I think just like believing in myself a little bit more, not seeing everything negatively and exactly what your brain makes up, like trying to fight those thoughts, like keep telling yourself, even when your brain is like, this is not going to get better, or you're going to still be sad and depressed and not satisfied, like that's not true. Like literally just keep fighting it over and over. It's hard because everybody's so different. It's hard to recognize what is like not normal, like what is not okay to put yourself through, I guess. Because like literally I would be crying all the time, but I thought like, oh, I'm just stressed, like I just have a lot on my plate. But it's like, no, like you're mentally ill almost, like you have to work through some stuff or figure some stuff out, because that's not how you're supposed to be living every single day, even if you're stressed or have a lot on your plate. I think when it's like affecting you daily, or it's not like an issue that can be resolved, it's something where like everything is like adding up, you know, like it's okay to be stressed about something that you have a paper or this class is just really like super hard for you, but once it's like everything like snaps you, like everything makes you break down, I think that's kind of a sign. And I do think that a lot of people struggle with mental health, like way too many people. But I also think that, I mean, people say this all the time, like we aren't taught enough, we don't understand how to recognize it. And so if we knew the signs, or you know, what's too much, what's too little, you know, what is kind of a factor of mental health, I think that would be different, and then people wouldn't deal with it so much. Then they would understand like, okay, this is not okay, this is a warning sign, so I need to go speak to someone before it gets worse, and then I'm going to be like breaking down on my therapist's couch.
Alright guys, that's it for today's video. If you or someone you know is experiencing anxiety or depression, I hope you were able to pull some insight from Abby's experience and apply it to your own life. If you're looking for more content like this, you can go ahead and check out my blog, Release. It's linked in the description below. There you're going to find more success stories and stories of people overcoming their adversities. If you want information on when those blogs and vlogs will be being released, you can go ahead and check out my Instagram, s.e.rich. But other than that, stay healthy, stay well, and don't die with your music still inside of you. Bye, guys.